So according to Fabrizio Romano on playback, he said Nico Williams is appreciated by people at Chelsea and people at Arsenal, and there are other clubs, including Barcelona. So we already know that Arsenal are linked to him. Chelsea is always going to be everywhere. Don't worry about Chelsea. Chelsea doesn't really worry me that much. I know they took Modric, but they are always going to be linked to anyone. But obviously, a couple of weeks ago, this was what was reported from Court Offside. Arsenal are planning to make a move for Nico Williams this month after following his development for some time. Sources have told Court Offside Arsenal's interest in Williams, who has a €50 million release clause in his contract, is driven by Mikel Arteta. So, because we watched Nico Williams against Italy, he was very good. I mean, he was very good to the point where he was picked up man of the match, as you can see on screen. He was absolutely incredible. That left side, the way he gets past the player, the way he can, dribble past 2-3 players, he can take a shot. Sometimes he can cross the ball and all that. Do you think it's a no-brainer complete? Like, even if it's the first signing, like they tell us, okay, you're not really going to get a striker right now or midfielder. We've decided to focus on the winger. Let's focus on Nico Williams before the end of the month. Would you be like, yeah, for sure, focus on him first? If he's available, focus on him first.
There are only 3 players that can whip in a cross at this tournament, at the Euros, with either of their feet, left foot and right feet, and it is perfect. Ivan Perisic, Kevin De Bruyne, and Nico Williams. Williams is a no-brainer. When he plays on the left wing for Spain, you think he's like naturally left-footed. Therefore, his right foot has got to be weak. The goal he almost scored against Italy, towards the end of the game, the cracker was with his right foot. He is unbelievable. I do not have enough words to explain this boy. I don't have enough, jargons to throw around for Nico Williams. But let's say, for purposes of this podcast, we are just talking about a sensation of the talent. And of course, really, Spain, I've got a couple of them. But Nico Williams is a sensation. Is it a no-brainer? For me, I think Mikel Arteta has done well in terms of scouting. Edu has done well in terms of scouting. They have followed Nico Williams. This is not the first time we have heard his name. It's not the first transfer window. We had him in January 2022. We had him in the summer of 2022. But I think by then, Atletico Bilbao were not really willing to sell, and his release clause was not yet mature, at that point in time. These Euros have just opened up everybody's eyes about this boy, everybody's eyes about, how great a talent he is. He's under a manager that understands him, at Spain. He's worked with him through the youth ranks, and he's literally playing him on the left-hand side. At Bilbao, he plays on the right-hand side, by the way. Predominantly plays there. And again, he is immense, right? So for me, if Arsenal can go and do this deal, I don't think, I don't want to say he wins that the league. I don't want to put all that kind of pressure into him, but I would say 100% improves that forward line. 100% makes us a much better team in terms of attacking, gives us very, very different things on the left-hand side. With Gabriel Martinelli, you have, for me in the Premier League, one player I trust to beat a winger 1v1 on the left-hand side. I trust him 1v1. So imagine you take off Gabriel Martinelli and you bring on, Inaki, you bring on Nico Williams. I mean, his brother is Inaki. I get to confuse them at times. But you bring on Nico Williams, who is incredible. Or I've seen a report from Sami Makpo that last season, Bukayo Saka had a big wound on his leg. He was covering it up, and when the medical team got to see it, one day later, Saka proclaimed himself ready to play. He said, "I'm ready to go." So imagine Arsenal lose Saka, maybe like we lost him for the last game of the season. And you have Nico Williams. I don't think you would feel it the same way we are scared, we are terrified, we are petrified to lose Saka at the moment. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's a good deal. It is 50 million euros. It's a bargain, guys. We've talked about a 100 million bargain for Declan Rice. This would be the real definition of a bargain for such a player.
Now, we say they can play both sides, left and right. Now, Do you see more if he ends up joining us? Do you see more being used on the left, on the right, and which one specifically would you want him to be used in? Because you already have Trossard on the left and Martinelli. That will mean 3, unless you change the role for one of them. Or do you actually see him as, a rotation with Saka? You play Saka today, Saka comes off, Nico Williams comes on, Nico Williams starts, Saka rests for this game. Or do you think playing both, rotate him with Saka, rotate him with Martinelli, Trossard comes in as well, just confuse opponents completely depending on the game?
Now, I've always admired the cheat code they have at City in Jeremy Doku, and what I saw against for Belgium in their first game at the Euros with Doku, the manager played him. I think it's Tedesco. He played him on the right flank. I mean, we used that Jeremy Doku playing on the left-hand side and his lever there. He played Doku on the right-hand side, and that game, I think, I don't want to lie, beautiful performance. I don't want to hate against Doku, beautiful performance. So for me, with Nico Williams, let him be the cheat code. Let him be the cheat code that Arsenal have. In this team, we've got a couple of cheat codes. I think I was watching one of my favorite podcasters, James Lawrence Alcott, and was talking about the cheat codes in Arsenal. And he said, Saka is a cheat code. Odegaard is a cheat code. Now they're bringing in Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a cheat code. He never gets injured. He's always there. Never gets a bad game. He literally is always there. Nico Williams would be the real definition of a cheat code in a squad like Arsenal's. Now, imagine you have a 21-year-old who can play on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, but you have a guy that is really creative and really on scoring goals. You have a guy that defenders cannot predict. Is he going to go on the inside? Is he going to go on the outside? Is he going to shoot? Is he going to lay it across? I would really want to see him in a free, in a free undefined role, in the squad, right? So that when he comes on, and we know he's coming on for Saka, we expect something. When he comes on and he comes on for Martinelli, we expect something different. I think there have been so many times when our game has been stale, and that comes from the fact that we attack a lot from the right-hand side. We play a lot of our game from the right-hand side. And there are times when Trossard has not worked, there are times when Gabriel Martinelli has not worked, there are times when Saka has not worked. The one thing we saw with Spain in the first 2 games at the tournament, in the first game, their attack was channeled through Lamine Yamal. And I'll tell you, Nico Williams didn't have a very great game, and he wasn't as busy, against Albania. Against Italy, Spain channeled all their attacks through Nico Williams, and Lamine Yamal was very, very silent. And he didn't have a top game, but we know how good both of them are. So I think that is what Arsenal are lacking, and that's what Nico Williams would bring. And I don't want him to be specifically a backup for Saka. I don't like that kind of nonsense. I want a bigger squad, a squad that is dynamic, a squad that would allow us to cheat. A few buttons, just press a few buttons, and then you switch it. When you play against a player like Aaron Van Bissaka, we know that Saka struggles against players like that. Bissaka, Dan Ban at Newcastle, they literally get the better of him. So I would want a player like Williams against those defenders, because what he's got, he doesn't look to cut in just. He can take you to the byline, he can hug the touchline, and he will beat you from there. And he can also cut inside. So I see him as a player that comes in at Arsenal, and every 70 minutes, we know he comes on. But I won't be surprised for 50 million euros, him being a Mikel Arteta signing, if someone drops. And I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say anyone's name here because I might be attacked. Kosi, you don't like this player. Kosi, you don't like this player. I'm not going down that route. But I want to tell you, if you're looking for a cheat code on the market right now, if Arsenal are looking to better their forward line and we don't have a striker ready to bring in, Nico Williams is a sensational option.
Now, his numbers last season, in terms of creativity, his numbers were really good. He picked up 17 assists in all competitions. And to get numbers like that is not easy. I mean, we always imagine Odegaard can do it, but I don't think he's ever hit 17 assists. Not yet. Saka probably gotten close a couple of times, but hitting 17 assists. I don't even think it takes like all the free kicks and all the corners for Bilbao. And you can get assists like from open play, numerous of them. That's really good in terms of creativity. And on top of that, he gets 8 goals. Now, I remember I asked you a question like 2 weeks ago or something. I'll put that question to you again. You're not worried about him getting 8 goals and 17 assists. Would you like to have a balance there, 12 goals, 12 assists, instead of just 0 goals, 20 assists? Would you like to add to his numbers in terms of goals?
No, not at all. I think, again, when we were talking before the show, we said football has changed a lot and roles have become really predetermined and really defined, in front of players. When you brought in under Mikel Arteta and you are a winger, if you're a left winger, you expect to score more goals because that is the role of in that position. That is the role. When you play for Mikel Arteta and you're playing on the right, because there is a lot of creative ounce and numbers and talent on Arsenal's right hand side. Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Saka, whoever, you are expected to create a lot, and eventually in your numbers it will show. You will create a lot. You might score a lot of goals because, again, Arsenal attack a lot from the right hand side, but your numbers will show that creativity. Think about Ben White's creative numbers, even if not in terms of assists, but in terms of how much he has created, right? Brought in good crosses, this and that. The same for Saka, the same for Martin Odegaard. I really don't care about how many goals he scores or how many times he assists. It's that impact I'm looking for games. And I think this was more under Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger could bring on a player like Rosicky, and Rosicky wouldn't score or assist, but the game would just change. The tide would just change. I think Wenger was so good at that. He would just bring on... He had his own cheat codes. Like, he would throw on a Rosicky. He's one of the players I really, really remember. He loved bringing on Rosicky when games were not in our favor, and games would change. And you would listen to the radio or you'd watch the game, and you're like, this guy just running through the midfield, right, up and down, with and without the ball, has changed the ball. I think the game that is Williams. He's got the ability to affect games. He's got the ability to just confuse opponents. He's got the ability to get opponents worried. He's got the ability to, cause a lot of emotional change, in the back line and defensive structures of teams. So if he can get me 15 assists a season, right, and maybe 5 to 9 goals every season consecutively, I'm definitely okay, because I know the system we are playing and why Arsenal are not very big on a striker is Mikel wants everyone to be involved in the goals. Mikel wants everyone to play their part in creating and scoring the goals. So I'm not really very worried about goals and assists, unless if he's a starter and I know he's playing 90 minutes every single season. There I'll demand at least 10 plus goals and 10 plus assists every single season.
Impact is a key word. We want someone who... Now, I love every single Arsenal player. Whoever starts, whoever comes on. Like, there's a time I felt like, okay, whoever starts between White and Tomiyasu, Martinelli and Trossard, whoever is okay. But there's a couple of times you feel like you look at the bench and you're like, is there anyone who can come in and, completely have an impact on the game and totally change the direction of the game? And, you're definitely going to win that game. Like, for Doku, sometimes you can tell, he can come on and defenders will be like, oh, Doku is coming on base. He's going to go past 4-5 players. That scares players. For us, it depends. Sometimes, we know Jesus coming on from Ketty, you're like, okay, that's good. Let's see what is going to happen. Sometimes Trossard coming on and like, okay, let's see what is going to happen. But maybe it's not going to like completely flip a game around like a De Bruyne would. Now, having someone like a Nico Williams or even Saka on the bench, like whoever is coming on here, absolutely fine. And a couple of times as well, we can't really do like for like changes. Like if you take out Saka, you look at the bench like Fabio Villa is different. It's going to play differently. If you play Trossard on the right side, it's going to play differently. They're not like as direct as Saka. Sometimes you make changes here and there, it's going to be not the same. But if you're taking out Saka after he's destroyed a fullback for 60 minutes, or as you said, if Danban gets better of him, and Danban is like, yeah, I've gotten the better of Saka here. He sees Nico Williams coming on for the last 35 minutes. He's like, oh, I need to go again. I'm tired. Like, I need to go again. The different winger, that would scare them. The opposition coach would not know whether he's about to bring Nico Williams on the right together with Saka, or Saka on the right, or Nico Williams on the left, together with Saka on the right side as well. He not know what the manager is planning to do. So Nico Williams, the reason I wanted Bakayoko as well, someone like for like on that wing, someone who can dribble past defenders. He's very good in terms of dribbling, and in terms of what I asked in terms of goals and assists. As long as he gets me a goal contribution and he creates chances and all that, I'm absolutely fine with that. Even if you get 25 assists and 0 goals, as long as you're contributing returns and defenders are getting scared seeing you, and it's an international player who's done it. He's done it for Bilbao. The reason I brought up that goal thing is because obviously last season he got 8 goals and 17 assists. A couple of seasons ago, he actually played more than 30 La Liga games with 0 goals. So I was like, who is he? But obviously that was 2 years ago. He could have been like 19. You mentioned his age is about to turn 22 next month. I think July is going to turn 22. So he's still a lot to improve, So do you think he's still raw? Do you think he is close to a finished product, even though he's young? It just like he wouldn't need too much time to adapt.
He's very far away. He's very, very, very far away. I think, working with supporting a group of young players, what it has told us is young players need a lot of time to develop. Like, there are phases they go through that you never expected. Arsenal fans, including myself, I don't know about you, but we thought that the moment Arsenal failed to win the title in 2022, 2023, we were definitely going to win it 2023, 2024. And the only reason as to why Arsenal didn't win the title last season, again, we've got to pick that maturity, and we've got to pick from, again, Lodri's statement that when we went to Man City away, we were the team in form. We were the team that was supposed to ask for the 3 points. It wasn't Man City. When we played Aston Villa at home, we were the team that was supposed to ask the questions, and not Aston Villa. So young players go through different phases, a couple of different stages. They make mistakes here and there. They learn from this and that. You look at Odegaard when he came in. We were one of the things I always talked about Odegaard was he's afraid to take risks. He's afraid to do the great things that impact the game. And Odegaard of the last 2 seasons, incredible. In terms of scoring goals, you expect him to finish. When there is a chance in the penalty area and Odegaard is on it, I'm calm. I'm sitting back, I'm popping champagne, I'm having popcorn because I know he's going to finish it, and he does finish it. And in terms of breaking through the lines, FC Porto kind of goal for assist for Trossard, he's got to do that. So he's taking more risks, and that will have been in the coaching to encourage him and to make him see the inner man in himself. With Nico Williams, I think the situations he gets into and the positions he gets into, that's already enough to show you that this is a player that just needs a little bit of guidance, that when do you shoot and when do you not shoot? When do you pass? Yes, you're assisting a lot, but don't you think that there are times when you should take it on? Don't you think there are times when you've beaten 2-3 players in the penalty area, and although there is a pass on, there is also a shot on? So there's a lot to improve in his game. There's a lot of runnings in his game. He's got a lot of talent, so he's too confident at times. At times I've looked at him for Bilbao, and I'm like, don't do that. You already have Inaki Williams making that run. Just slide it down. And he still wants to beat 2-3 players because he's got that ability. And by the time you beat 2-3 players, the whole team is now back in numbers, and they can now defend, properly. So he's not near the finish article anywhere, just like Doku is not, just like Saka is not, just like Martinelli is not. I think the finished article, you talk about a player like Trossard coming in, because Trossard gets in an area that the manager didn't tell him to be, and the opposition didn't expect him to be, and he finishes off in a way that you expect prime Robin van Persie to finish off. So I think that is the finished article in a player like Leandro Trossard. But again, the rawness and the fact that he's not complete, and the fact that you don't know what to expect out of him, makes them very, very exciting. Again, one of the things that City have in Doku is a player they can bring on in big games. Like, he came on against Real Madrid, against an experienced Carvajal and Nacho, and one of the most defenders I admire in Rudiger in modern football. And he really gave them real big problems. Like, he stops and starts at a very incredible pace. For me, Williams and Doku, if you put them in the same team, you have problems. But definitely, one of them is going to be in London, and the other should be in Manchester Blue. So for me, Williams, not the finished article, but will be a big surprise to many teams.
Now, will he be in London at Arsenal or the other different teams? So I'll ask you this. If you're Nico Williams, bias aside, you have the chance to stay at Bilbao, or the teams that Fabrizio said. You have the chance of going to Arsenal, you have the chance to go to Chelsea, and you have the chance to go to Barcelona, same league, but bigger club who's going to be fighting for the title. What would be your decision on this transfer? Which one do you think will be better for him at, by that time he's going to be 22. Which do you think is his better decision? Going to the Arsenal project, maybe not sure about whether he's going to start every day. Going to the Chelsea project, maybe he gets that left side permanently ahead of Mudryk. I've seen a couple of Chelsea fans saying he should go there and replace Mudryk. Or do you think go to Barcelona? Or do you think stay at Bilbao for a couple of seasons, see how far you're going to grow, maybe for Real Madrid or someone?
Chelsea fans, they trigger me. If you're Nico Williams right now, you're looking at two things, by the way. You're looking at playing at a bigger club to further your career, but also you're looking at that Spain left wing position that you have conquered. Spain have a lot of talent that is coming through in that position. Dani Olmo is there. He's not playing. We have one of the Villarreal wingers as well. I just forget his name. Arsenal were linked with him a couple of seasons ago. Still very young and very, very good as well. Again, he's not playing. He's not playing.
Ayoze Perez playing as well.
I mean, you have the likes of Ayoze Perez, that you're keeping out of the team. So one of the priorities for Junior is going to be, can I get a bigger team where I can further my career, win trophies, get bigger salaries, and become a legend? That's number one. But also, secondly, his second question is going to be, where do I keep my starting place at Spain? And I'm not going to lie, that is at Barcelona, because when you play for Barcelona, you're almost guaranteed that you will start for Spain. So I won't be surprised. I am not surprised when he says his dream is to play for Barcelona and he wants to go to Barca, although Barca might not have the 50 million euros this summer. But for me, if I was Nico, the best position would be under Mikel Arteta. The best position would be under a young project at Arsenal. At the moment, I wouldn't say there is one player on the flanks that Nico Williams cannot, throw out of that starting 11. No one. No one would be safe against him. Saka, because he's English, maybe, and of course of his importance and longevity in the Premier League, but also longevity for Arsenal. Player of the season 2 times. I think he was unfairly not voted among the top 3. Again, his numbers were incredible. But that is the one player that you'll be looking to say, if I cannot keep Saka out of the starting 11, I'm going to play beside him in the starting 11. I think there's a lot of freedom and there's a real opportunity for to be taken at Arsenal. And I also think that in terms of winning trophies, Arsenal are the next big giant to get their hands on silverware. We don't know when, right? And that's why we're still recruiting players to strengthen this side. So I think he would have a bigger impact at a club like Arsenal, because it's a whole team of young players, and you're just coming to see us over the line, right? So you're not coming to struggle and play in a struggling side. All your attacking ounce is going to be utilized very well. All your attacking talent is going to be utilized very well in a team that is dominating a lot of football, in a team that is favorite to win games at least 90% of the games that we are playing. So I think Arsenal is the best destination. Chelsea, not a chance. How many wingers do they have? Madueke, Sterling, Mudryk. We can spend a whole hour. Palmer. We can spend a whole hour talking about wingers that Chelsea are about to sign. They already have, and those ones that are out. And I don't think, unless it's the manager Maresca that has asked for him. And again, you don't know how long Maresca is going to be there. You don't know. They cannot keep a manager. So I don't think that's a good project for him. So for me, it's between Barcelona and Arsenal. At Barca, he knows if I can get into Barca, which he can at the moment, he can keep his starting position for Spain. At Arsenal, I think he risks being a David Dreyer. You're good, but because you're not playing in Spain, you're not playing the principle of Catanasian, Catalonia principles. Maybe you're left out, but I wouldn't really see that happen. I think Arsenal is the best destination for such a player.